Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to today's pick a card reading. This one was intense, you guys. I filmed all of this on the 31st of October. The intention was to make this a Halloween reading, and it was meant to be called Who's Too Spooked to Talk to You, something like that. But we're not calling it that anymore because it's not gonna be Halloween when I post this. I know it's gonna take a bit of time for me to put all of these videos together and to upload the extendeds and do all of that, and I feel like I need a rest today and kind of to just relax a bit, so that's what I will do first. Self-care. Anyway, but by the time you're seeing this, I will have cared for myself, and personal readings are available. The giveaway is still going on until 11/11. And there are extendeds, and they will be linked down below, as well as the personal readings. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. Happy Halloween if you celebrate. I'm not actually doing anything for Halloween. I'm kind of just tired, to be honest. So I'm gonna be enjoying a lot of me time. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying your day, night. I will stop babbling now so you can decide which deck or decks call to you the most, and I will see you soon. Hello, my beautiful group ones, and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at who is too spooked to tell you what. That's our topic. I kind of wanted it to be Halloween themed. I don't think I'm gonna call it spooked in the end. I don't think it sounds as nice. I'm gonna probably say afraid. But essentially we're just looking at what someone is too scared to tell you, the conversation someone is too scared to have with you. And I pulled some oracle cards already. We'll get into the energy of this person so you can decide if this is someone you want to or need to hear about. And there will also be an extended for each group, but we're going to talk about that later on. So let's get into this. The sun is out. It is actually the 31st of October today. And the sun being out is kind of a rare treat lately. So, anyway, hope you're having a nice day. Hopefully this will make it better, or less confusing. So, starting off, we have breath. We have the Phoenix, and oh, you are this group. Yesterday I wanted to film, this reading, and then I changed my mind. I wanted to do something viewer focused, and I had only pulled the cards for one group, and that was the Phoenix. And this card has insisted on coming out again. It was again the first, like, your group one. So I thought that was very interesting that the Phoenix kept coming out. And this card as well, left out with the wolves. Them together. This is the second time they're coming out, so I feel like this is quite an important conversation that this person is avoiding, that needs to be had for some kind of relief and some kind of release between the two of you, regardless of the outcome of the connection. Like, there is a lot of tension and it needs to come out somehow. This person has been too scared to have that conversation. I think for some of you, you've also been scared to have this conversation because this is a time of big change, big transformations in your life. You may be feeling very strangely intuitive lately. There is just a sense of, we have the number 7. We have this number 7 twice. We also have 8. There is a sense of being at a threshold with this situation. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in this threshold. It could be a month, it could be a year, but things have stalled when there was a lot of potential and a lot of promise and a lot of hope and a lot of daydreaming and fantasizing around this connection of what it could be, of one day what you could do. But there is a lot of consideration for some of you for relationships with other people. But I think overall, this is an energy of having to consider other commitments, starting with your commitment to yourself. And the same goes for this person. Like, you've had to make some decisions, or you're trying to make some decisions based on what is for your highest good. And for some of you, I feel like parts of this connection have not aligned with your highest good, your expectations, your hopes, your plans. We have the 4th house. This came out in the reverse. And we also have vampire, which also came out in the reverse. So we're going to read the shadow attribute: depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. And I will be honest, this is the card I pulled to represent how this person is seeing you in this connection. And I think this actually makes a lot of sense in the entirety of this reading. Please don't be alarmed. My intention is not to like make you angry. I don't think this person looks at this energy in quite the way that it's described here. I think it's that this connection has had some codependent features, especially where you may have focused a lot on this connection and like ended up neglecting yourself. I think this person is aware of that you have basically been breathing life into this connection, or trying to. You've been trying to resurrect it. You've been trying to get it going, get it moving. But this energy that you're in right now, it's essentially one of distance. It's one of a break, a pause. Even if you are in a relationship with this person, and there is a sense of commitment here in any case, even if this is not physical, it can be emotional. But there is distance here with this 4th house in reverse. There is a sense of like not knowing who each of you is becoming now, and what each of your lives is going to look like. And there is a fear around figuring out if this relationship fits into that new life, that fits with that new version. I will say, I don't think this is a matter of depleting others for your psychic survival. I think this person has maybe felt that there have been too many situations in this connection where you've been going in circles and not really figuring things out. There is an energy of plans not moving forward in the way that it has been hoped for. And I think in some ways this person feels abandoned by you, even if it's not you that walked away, or no one here has walked away. There is a sense of abandonment that stems from not having been able to figure things out. I think it's potentially that both of you have felt very triggered in this connection, and that has made it even more difficult to talk about things. It's not a lack of feeling here, it's a lack of being able to communicate that from a space of feeling balanced, from a space of feeling grounded, from a space of feeling secure. This person is not blind to that, but parts of them are also often feeling very attacked. This is someone that feels very judged, very criticized by other people. They may do the same at times. I don't think it's their intention, but I think they can also be very critical, especially with their own self, which is most likely where this assumption that you are very judgmental with them stems from. If you are telling this person how you feel or how they've made you feel, they may take that as a personal attack. I feel like there's a sense of this person feeling attacked, feeling pressured within this connection. because they are inherently someone that wants a balanced commitment, a balanced situation, but when it comes to the practical steps of making that happen, there seems to have been a mismatch. Like they weren't putting enough effort in, or they weren't giving enough, or they were not able to understand where you were coming from. There is a sense of feeling very defensive towards each other currently in this situation. But it also feels like this space that you have between the two of you is necessary so that you have enough space to figure out what it is that you want. Not just from this connection, but from life, from what brings you, like what kind of life is going to make you feel safe, what kind of life is going to make you feel secure and balanced, protected, like you're on the right track, meaningful. This is a time of death and rebirth for both of you on an individual level. I think this has in some ways translated into this connection, and you may have witnessed in the past months big shifts in the connection or in the overall energy of it. You may have picked up on it intuitively, but I feel like when it comes to the physical realm, there hasn't been a lot of change. It's like I'm seeing a pendulum in my mind's eye. It's like swinging back and forth, but it's not necessarily moving out of its orbit. And sometimes this pattern of back and forth, this rhythm, it needs to be interrupted to get a different outcome. I feel like that has been very difficult in this situation. We literally have the word destruction written on this card as well, which I didn't realize. But it is a time of destruction and then rebirth with this phoenix energy. This is someone who does really care about you, but there is also this sense of, again, feeling like unwanted by you, feeling unaccepted by you, and you may feel the same way about them. Both of you feel watched by the other person, but also ignored. And I think that's because you're not openly saying things and jumping to conclusions about the other. This is someone who can be very passionate, someone who can be very motivating, very inspirational, someone who can lead very well if they choose to, but I feel like they are in a place where they're not feeling very safe and secure within themselves. They're feeling like they're under attack. I don't think it's just from this connection. In some ways, they feel a bit naive because maybe they had big hopes and ideals and fantasies around this connection, but they didn't really pursue them. I think in some ways this person has been maybe a bit more self-centered in this connection. I don't think that's how they would see it. I think they are not necessarily in a place where they see that, where they can fully integrate that it has not just been that you've been unhappy with this person, or you've not wanted this person, or you've not chosen this person, because there is a sense of rejection that they feel towards you, but I think it's that you weren't accepting some of their behavior, or you were pointing out some of the patterns that you've fallen into. And this person took that as a personal attack and took that as you saying, you don't want me, you don't like me. But I think that is because this person sees change as a destruction of the self, but this version of themselves that they're holding on to is not even the version of them that they would like to be. And I think they maybe see the version of themselves in this connection as not like really them. It's just because they're triggered. It's not really like, there is a sense of rejection of their own self as well, which can make it very difficult for them to assume someone else would accept them, flaws and all. And it's not that this person expects themselves to be perfect, but I feel like they may attribute their behavior to external factors or stress, or something you said was very triggering, or something you didn't do was very triggering. But I think it is that they perceive some expressions of vulnerability as a personal attack, as a judgment on them, as a complaint about them. Whereas it may just be you saying, I understand why you do this, or I don't understand why you do this, but it is hurting me. So I would like you to understand that you are hurting me. And it's not that this person hasn't seen some of their behavior hurt you, especially if they've held back. Like their defensiveness could be something that comes across very hurtful, very uninterested. But I feel like this person, in their own opinion, they have been as invested, as interested as they potentially could ever see themselves being with anyone. It has not been a personal thing. It has not been that this person hasn't cared about you. Actually, I feel like they feel quite at home with you, quite familiar with you, up until the point where things have started feeling like they're really changing. There is definitely a need for a breath of fresh air in this connection. I feel like both of you could really use a breath of fresh air, a fresh beginning. But first, the rotten foundations in this connection, they are currently being destroyed, or maybe they already have been, because it feels like this process of destruction and rebirth, both on a personal level, and then potentially this connection has also in some way experienced a big shift recently, or will. But for some of you, this could be on an entirely energetic level as well, that you've witnessed this shift, because I don't want to put a label or limit on like where exactly you are at within this connection, because the energy is there, but that may not always mean that the physicality has been there too. There isn't really a lot of indication of like a physical connection here. And that's what makes me feel like there could be distance, there could be a breakup, no contact even, or just very limited contact. Because again, with this number 7, it's just, it makes me think of fighting inner demons and being too busy to look at anything else, or to fight anything else outside, or to pour into anything else outside. So it's a bit of a withdrawal period between the two of you. And this person, in some ways, is someone that is trying to not be so attached to your energy. I think they are afraid, because they may say like you depend too much on them, but they do too. It's just that when your energy pulls itself back, or when you pull your energy back more so, whether this was intentional or just a result of what's been happening in your life, when you pull your energy back, they feel that absence. It's that they may not say that they are codependent, or they are dependent on your energy, because they have had no withdrawal from it. Whereas you may have experienced withdrawal with them, in the sense of this person pulling away or turning cold, because there is an avoidance to this person's energy. I feel like often with people who may feel very instantly attacked by somebody else's feelings, somebody else's expression of feeling, they will show more avoidant tendencies. Nobody has to fit like one definition 100%, when it comes to attachment styles, we're often a mix and match of, you know, like it's a spectrum. It's somewhere in the middle, somewhere to the right, whatever it may be. But they are afraid to tell you that they really miss you, because this is not the image that they have drawn. They have not shown up as a person who is very deeply vulnerable. They have not shown up as a person who would like chase. But it's not that they haven't wanted to. This person really deeply cares about you, but they are so defensive against the intimacy and the vulnerability and the commitment, especially, that this connection brings. It's not that they don't want intimacy. I think they have experienced maximum intimacy with you on their terms, but maybe it has not been enough. And I feel like both of you have wanted it to be enough. Both of you have really wanted this connection to work, and there came a point where it was exhausting. It was draining both of you. But I think the energy that was draining was not your inherent cores, but the energy that has been draining is going in this loop, not being able to get out of it. When you're running in circles and not getting anywhere, it can be exhausting because you don't see a goal, an end goal. You don't know where you're going. So you don't have that motivator factor that tells you, okay, we're actually getting somewhere. We're actually doing something. We know what we're doing. This is the meaning of it. This is what to do with it. So I feel like it's all the confusion, all the not knowing, all the silence potentially between the two of you that has made this destruction and rebirth, regardless of what the next chapter brings. I feel like it's that energy that has made this feel so, I'm hearing the word dark. And it may also be seasonal affective disorder kicking in, because I personally definitely notice how that we have, less daylight now. I mean, it's more so that it gets dark way too early again. And I mean, I don't know if you do daylight savings, but some of you might. So hang in there. After the 21st of December, it will only get better. So I think we're going to take this to the tarot now and look at in depth what this person exactly is afraid to tell you. And before we do that, I'm going to quickly talk about the extended, which I will certainly forget to talk about later on, so I'll just do it now. We're going to get tons of channeled messages from this person, both from the message bag and the message cards. We're going to look at where this connection is headed currently, and we will compare that to the actual highest potential of this connection and kind of fill in the gaps with like what's maybe missing to get to the highest potential if we're not already there. And we will finish off with advice from spirit / your higher self. The order might change, but that's essentially what we're going to be looking at. If you're interested, the link will be down below at the in the description box. So okay, and I don't know if I mentioned anymore, but Cancer and Libra energy, and I'm gonna put Scorpio in there as well with this like death rebirth energy. Also, it is Scorpio season as I'm filming this, at least. So the ground is shaking. It's not the ground, it's the dryer downstairs. No, it's the washing machine downstairs. But I don't know if you can hear that noise. It's literally trying so hard to wash, to clean. Maybe that is in a way representative of how both of you feel like you've really tried your best. Whether that is like the objective truth. This person at least feels like they've done their best, but part of them also knows they haven't done enough to figure this out. So that kind of ties to the idea that maybe they feel like they're not good enough. I feel like they feel that they're just not good enough. And you're on a different level. In both of these cards, we have Temperance and we have the Two of Pentacles. Both of these cards are of balance, of harmony. But both images, we see one pentacle up and then we see one cup up. And the idea here is not that one cup is pouring to the other, it's more so that it's just balanced, right? But in this sense, the way both of these just popped out when I was shuffling, this person feels like you've given them more than they can give you. But I think there is that energy of like you being better than them, maybe a better person, maybe more deserving than them in some ways. I don't think they would tell this to you. I don't think they're necessarily very consciously aware of this either. I'm gonna wear a cardigan because I am suddenly freezing. And Sagittarius energy or season could be significant. Spirit, please, what is this person too afraid to say to group one? What is this person too afraid to say to group one? What is this person too afraid to say to group one? We have the King of Wands in reverse. They're just afraid to talk to you. Period. It makes their head feel fuzzy. It makes them feel very confused to think about what's coming. Their life doesn't feel very exciting necessarily. They don't feel very motivated. They don't feel very inspired. They associate that with a lack of you. We have Death. We have the Sun in reverse. And we have the Empress. It's like you've taken the sun away. And it's kind of like, what difference does it make if the sun is there? I don't have a garden anymore that I'm growing. That's what it feels like. I think there is a lot of deep sadness coming through about what has not worked out, and these changes feel very moody for this person. They're not going through this in a way that feels very grounded for them. Whatever shifts are happening in this connection, or whatever ending there may have been of a chapter in this connection, if not a definitive ending, they are feeling very low over this. It's like the excitement has been sucked out of their life, and I think they're trying their best to enjoy what is happening for them, but they are noticing that they are dependent on your energy, that they miss you, that you brought a lot of light into their life. Even if they kept saying that, like, you weren't happy with them, you were... This to me looks like a magnifying glass. I know that's not the intention, but it's almost like you were creating the fire. Like the sunlight, you know, filters in through the magnifying glass and then you make fire. Well, no, it filters through, but you know what I mean. That's kind of what it feels like. And it's not fire in a scary way, it's fire in a way that brings warmth, because this to me looks like an icy kind of space, like an icy path. Now they're kind of left with their emotions. Their emotions are wet and it's cold, so it's turning into ice. Like also, oh my god, I just noticed this, but literally in the beginning of the reading, it was so sunny, I didn't need to wear a cardigan, and now the sun is gone suddenly and I have to wear, I'm so cold. And I'm saying this because usually the energy around the reading will embody the energy that is coming through in the reading. Very cool. Scorpio energy is coming through again in Leo. There is something that feels fated about this connection to this person. It runs deeper than they understand. I'm hearing spellbound. Spellbound. Taurus and Libra energy is also coming through with the Empress. Spirit, please, what would this person say? What are they afraid to say to my group ones? I'm hearing they're terrified. We have the Devil in reverse. Is there nudity? Technically, but YouTube is not going to mind this. For once. Capricorn energy is coming through with the Devil. Can we clarify the King of Wands in reverse? They may have headaches. They may have just a lot of like fog in their mind overall. Oh, I don't like how it's not all fitted. I also feel like they care about you so much, they just don't know how to fit this into their life. They don't know where to put their emotions. They don't understand exactly what they're feeling. They're not in a place where they can like observe themselves properly. I think they would be afraid to tell you how drawn they are to you, how your presence is what has motivated them. They just didn't see that until your presence was pulled out of their life, or your presence shifted in energy, in direction. You're not looking at them anymore. It feels like they're worried that you will, and I'm hearing you will realize that you deserve better. And I think, I mean, you're the judge of that. It depends what has happened here, right? It's not a definitive answer from Spirit in terms of like, do this or that. That never is the case. You have free will. But this person, like this is coming from this person's perspective, they feel like you deserve better. And the day that you realize that is the day you're going to just completely turn away from them, and they're going to be left out in the cold. I think this is a fear that they have. You may actually have the same fear, or you may have had it before, but this person feels like they're afraid, they're terrified that they're gonna lose you. Because even if they have lost you, even if you're not together with this person, practically speaking, they don't feel like they have lost your energy completely yet. They think they are losing it now. And they are, I think they're really hurting over that a lot. They are terrified to ask you for love because they may come across very guarded, very cold, very defensive. And it's, in a way, I think, way to see if you, out of your own will pour into their cup, will give to them rather than them having to ask for it. Which maybe also creates confusion in your energy, because it's like they don't even want you, or you feel rejected by them, and then they feel rejected by you. Because both of you are acting from a place of your own fears, assuming things about the other from a place of your own fears. Each of you may have had behaviors that like played into these fears that you have about your own selves, insecurities you may have about your own selves. I think in this connection, mistakes have been made. Things could have been done better. And in the wake of things that have been done, both you and this person, like, they have a lot of assumptions about you. They think you're doing really well. We have the Ace of Swords. It's almost like they're expecting a death sentence from you about this connection. And that's a conversation they are afraid to have. And they don't know if that is the conversation you would have, but they are terrified that it would be. That would be what you want to talk to them about. We have the Six of Swords in reverse. They're really in their head about the times they didn't choose you, or they didn't give enough priority to this connection, where they didn't act right, where they didn't take responsibility. They know they gave you a certain impression about themselves. In some ways, they think this is the maximum that they can be. But I think it's more that they're afraid to tell you that they wish they were enough, because they feel like they're not. And they wish they were. But I think they're afraid to say that because it would make them look desperate. And they're not someone that wants to appear that way. They want to appear as someone logical, someone who has their stuff together, someone who knows what they're doing. We have the Knight of Cups, but they really, really care about you. I think they would be scared to tell you how connected they feel, especially now that there's distance, because you may be wondering, like, where was, then maybe you would wonder, like, why were you not telling me this before? Why is it only after this sadness between us that you would say this to me? Why couldn't you see it before? And it's not that they didn't see it, I think, but the fear around endless possibilities when it comes to their future, the not knowing, and I think it comes to them as fear and not excitement, not as like exciting potential. That the lack of, like, the idea of not having this connection, not having this situation, this attachment to each other, because I mean, it's not that the attachment disappears just because physically you may not be around each other, but it's terrifying to this person. It's terrifying to talk about the future in general to them with you, like, regardless of what you have planned for this connection or what you have planned for yourself, this person is terrified of anything that's about to happen. I think they're just overall very avoidant towards talking to you, but they also, part of them wants answers, but they're very afraid of what that answer may be. They're coming across very confused. They're coming across very in their head. Quite sad as well with the Sun in reverse. Like they're losing hope. They're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to be honest. They're afraid of the potential of breaking this commitment. And this is not to say that is what will happen. I feel like it's still, for a lot of you, a process that you're going through. If this is a connection that is definitively ended, of course, take that as it resonates. But they're afraid to tell you how afraid they are, because I feel like in general, there has just been too much conflict. They don't want to have more conflict, but they really miss you, but I feel like they also think of the past in a very like rainbows and butterflies kind of way. The past version of this connection that they're longing for is like, it's with the Three of Swords in reverse. I feel like this person does want to have peace between the two of you, but they don't know if that's possible because there is so much that has happened with this Ten of Wands. I feel like there is, like, they're afraid to take responsibility for some of their actions because they find it difficult to hold themselves accountable, because they don't want to see themselves as a person that would do what they did, even if it is what they did or how they acted. Like, this person, for some of you, they may have gotten very agitated and raised their voice, and then they think, I would never raise my voice. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not an angry person. I'm not like this. So I feel like in their head, they've often had a lot of justifications for the way they behave, but they know it's not right. They would be afraid to admit that, though. We have the Emperor in reverse. Like, they know you have held them accountable for a reason. If you have tried to confront them and they've avoided it, they know that you've tried. They may ignore that because they're afraid to tell you they know you've tried. And I think they feel more responsible about this current situation. They understand that they may have not given you much to work with, and you were willing to, and maybe now they feel like that's lost. And I think they're terrified to just get the answer of yes or no with that. Of, is it lost? Is it not? Because I feel like part of them doesn't feel like they're being realistic if they think everything is gonna go back to normal, to the same old dynamic. But I think they're just afraid to open that discussion in the first place. It feels like it takes a lot of energy. But they still feel very connected to you. Bottom deck energies I stopped shuffling is the Two of Cups. Is there anything else that this person would need group 1 to know, but they're too afraid to tell them this? Anything else? All right, I think on, well, bottom deck energy is the Magician in reverse, so I feel like this person does feel a bit like helpless, desperate, like they don't have the resources. And I'm just like scratching my head, like like in a thinking kind of way. So I feel like they're really in their head about this, but they don't know what to do. They don't know. They're very confused. Even my sight feels like it's even like difficult to see. Not literally, not like I'm suddenly blacking out, but it feels different, the energy that I'm embodying now. It feels very confusing. It feels very murky. I think that's where this person is. There's a sense of pressure and tension. They don't know how to relieve themselves of that. And I think this is where we're going to take it to the extended. If you are meeting me there, I will see you in a little bit. If not, that is perfectly okay. And I hope this reading was helpful to you. The giveaway is still going on until 11/11. All you have to do is comment and be subscribed to the channel if you would like to enter. Personal readings are also available and linked down below. And thank you for sharing your energy with me. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, and Halloween. And yeah, bye. Hello, my beautiful group 2s, and welcome to your reading. First things first, I was hearing Rolling in the Deep by Adele, but instead of We Could Have Had It All, it's We're Gonna Have It All. Um, and I was also hearing the name Poppy, and then I thought, oh, what's Poppy short for? And I thought Poppy, which is obviously not what it's short for. But it made me think of the name Penelope, so the name Penelope could be significant in the end. Maybe we were just trying to get to the name Penelope, I don't know, but this is what spirit's dumping on me today. So here you go. And we will start with a little energy check, of course, so you can decide if this is the reading for you, or if you don't want to hear about this person, or you don't know this person and you don't care to know about them. That is also perfectly fine. Feel free to try a different pile or another reading altogether. There will also be an extended, but we will talk about that later on. The energies today have been very intense. I filmed group 1 a long time ago at this point, like in the beginning of the day. It is the 31st of October, so maybe it has something to do with that. But it's just a lot of energy that is coming through. So let's get into this. Starting off, we have Copper. You could be 23, they could be 23. The number 23 could be significant. I heard it's been 23 years. Okay, we have Owl, we have Puppet, we have the Link. This is 32, so we have 23 and 32. Nerd numbers, we have Yod, we have the 7th house, Libra energy, we have air element communicating, and we have the Advocate, which initially came out in the reverse, but then it flipped itself upright. And already this is going to be someone that you feel a very deep, profound connection with. This feels like you are linked to each other, or you feel linked to each other, at least in kind of an energetic sense. Like, you may have synchronicities about this connection pop up. You may find yourself feeling the energy of this situation, feeling the weight of this situation. This is someone who has so far looked at this connection from a perspective of, what can this connection give to me? And this has caused this person to undervalue the real situation here and what's really been going on, because this is someone coming through as the Owl. And the Owl for me is not necessarily a very emotional energy. Put that together with the air element, it comes across kind of stoic, it comes across guarded, it comes across very, very logical, but I'm starting to think of nicotine pouches. Somebody could be using nicotine pouches. Obviously that won't be the case for everyone, but just, yeah, random bit of information. But this is someone who's coming through quite logical, but I think they use being logical as an excuse to not have to deal with their emotions and not have to deal with the consequences of their actions or their lack of action. I think they have the tendency to play things down, and they do this in a way that comes across like they really know what they're doing and they really intend to say what they say. But this is actually not really the case. This is someone who panics quite often on the inside, especially when it comes to their emotions. They don't know how to deal with them. They don't know how to sit with their feelings and really feel them. So when they feel this type of pull towards someone, almost like you have unfinished business or some business with each other, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with this energy. For some of you, this could be someone that is of a higher position than you, like at work, or this could be someone older than you in university or at school. Could be someone who's worked at your company longer. Could be someone who's lived in your town longer. Something about them almost demands respect. in the sense of like, I know what I'm doing. I've been here long enough. Something about them has this aura. However, this is a bit of a mask, and this person is actually, I'm thinking of like those owls that when they're in hunting mode, they can look quite scary, like with their big eyes. But then they're actually quite cute. And that's kind of the energy here. I think this person is someone who is very drawn to you. I think overall they're afraid to say anything in relation to any emotion that takes vulnerability, because anger, for example, they could have expressed anger or annoyance or frustration. This is not an emotion that takes vulnerability. You can be annoyed with anyone, but if they're hurt, if they're longing, if they're uncertain, insecure, these are more vulnerable parts of ourselves, and these are parts we are often protecting by portraying anger on the outside, portraying annoyance on the outside. These are the softer parts of us we're trying to protect, and sometimes that we view as weak or as a deficiency of some kind. And I think this person is someone who can be very critical, very rule-based, also when it comes to how they're supposed to act, who they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, what commitments they have. They're very routine with the commitments that they have to carry out, with the rules that they have to follow. But this has left them very inexperienced in the matters of the heart. There's someone that tries to always do the right thing. I think most times they don't know what the right thing is because they look at this equation from just the logical point of view and not the emotional part of things, which matters quite a lot in this situation, because I think a lot of the attraction here is very, I'm hearing nonsensical. Maybe that's how this person would put it. I'm not calling it nonsensical. You may feel like you're drawn to this person and you don't understand it, so that's maybe why it's coming through as nonsensical, because it feels like neither of you know why there is this sense of attachment, this sense of unfinished business between the two of you. This person perceives something almost alien about you, and alien is the exact word that is coming through, like you're not from this world. I think that can mean you're not from their world, like the same culture, the same place, or you're just not built like them, like you're not as rule-based, you're not as routine-based, you're not as self-limiting, self-restricting. You could be, but maybe in different ways, or in ways that this person is not perceiving, but it's like you're from a different world. And I always, when I get like these knots in my throat suddenly when I'm channeling, I have found that that's a sign of hesitation or a sign of like inability to communicate very well on this person's end. And I know my voice is kind of unstable right now for a second. I think that is the hesitation that this person feels when they actually speak, or if they haven't said anything at all. I think it's just the overall hesitation in the armor that they have been wearing, because they do feel very drawn to you. This is someone who has had time to become wiser about this. It's a bit of a question mark if they have really used that properly, because with this puppet energy coming out, they're bound to something else. This could be a commitment that they have outside of this connection. For some of you, this is a third-party situation. If that is the case, you will already know. So please don't be alarmed if this is not what is happening with you. If that is the case, you would absolutely know. Like, this person would be in this commitment for some time, or they've made it known to you that they're in this commitment, or everybody knows they're in this commitment. It's that kind of thing. Like, their whole life is built around a certain set of rules, a certain commitment, and that's what this person is focusing on. They're not even really focusing on themselves. They're not even someone that prioritizes themselves, even if they may come across selfish. They're very service-based. they base their value off of what they can give to other people. In this situation, this person is not someone who believes they can give you anything and that this situation can give them anything. And they see this from a logical perspective. They look at it from a very matter-of-fact way. In fact, I feel like it's kind of coming out in the way that I'm talking. It's almost like this memorized speech, and I haven't memorized it, and it's just, I'm barely aware of what I'm saying, in the sense that it's just coming out so fast, and I'm just staring at the candle, like I'm not moving my eyes, I've just been kind of zoned in on this candle. So I think this person is so focused and so, like, one-track mind that they're unable to see the little details, see things that go beyond just the physical, just the logical, just the material. And they are someone who is focused on their material world. They don't think they have gotten enough value out of their material world, even if they're very well established. I think this person is not satisfied with their life, not satisfied with themselves. They seem to have the impression that doing the same things over and over again is going to bring them eventually some fulfillment, but the issue here is that the path that they're walking is not one that satisfies them. And I don't think that this person has seen that yet, that they are kind of being controlled by limitations that have been placed on them, by responsibilities that have been placed on them outside of their spirit's will, which sounds a bit strange, but I feel like this person has been very out of tune with themselves, and they've just taken on roles that were like handed to them by other people. They were given roles that, like, you have to have a family and you have to have this many kids and you have to do that, or you need to get to a certain material level, you need to get a house, you need to buy this, you need to buy that, and if you don't do that, you're not successful, you're not worthy. And this is obviously not the truth. Nobody is worthy of love and care and compassion because they're rich or something, even though there are people who may have this impression. I think this person's self-worth is very much based on what other people see them as, whether this is, I don't know, someone's boss, someone's mentor. They have allowed other people to undermine their sense of self. And at this point, this person is very disconnected from who they actually are and what they actually feel and how they actually feel. But they are very tightly tied to rules, commitments, but especially rules and roles. The role that they play for people in their life, maybe a mother, maybe a father. Mentor is also coming through quite strong, like some kind of example for a group of people, some kind of leadership role could be applicable to this person as well. You are someone that feels alien to this person because you don't see the world the way that they do. Even if you haven't really talked about it, they can kind of see it in the way you dress, the way you carry yourself. They can perceive this. They are an observant person. Do they use their observational skills to the max? Not really, because there are things this person would rather not see and rather not deal with, especially when it comes to feelings. But they are not unaware of this connection and the strong pull that it has. For some of you, this could be like a friends with benefits. This could be someone that said, like, I'm not looking for anything more, or I'm not committing anything because I already have other things to do. It seems like they have shown rejection, they have shown disinterest while being very curious about this connection and while feeling a strong pull towards you. I don't think they have gotten deeper in terms of feelings at this point, the way that this is coming through, I think this connection is something that they have kind of labeled as currently not something they can interact with. Or if they were to interact with it, it's not going to bring them something. And currently this person is interested in building for themselves or getting what they can out of every situation, and they don't feel like they can get something out of this situation. I think the mindset of looking at situations as what can I get out of this, especially in an emotional matter, is not the best approach. But this person is a bit of a prisoner to their own methods, to their own rules, and this also protects them from giving too much away or becoming too vulnerable and honest and being rejected because of their softness or what they may perceive as weakness, or even straight out wrong about them. There may be certain gender roles, societal roles, cultural roles, workplace roles, expectations that have been placed on this person, and anything that strays from that feels wrong to this person. And I think they associate that conception, that perception, not conception, that perception of like things being wrong because they're out of their ordinary, they're out of what they've been doing, they're different than what they're used to. That feels wrong to them, and I think that's how they associate wrong with this connection in that sense. Like, they don't feel like getting into this situation fully would be right. Maybe they have reasons outside of this perception, but I think this perception is one of the main reasons, that something about this connection is not something they see as acceptable. But it feels like this doesn't necessarily come from their ideas. It comes from ideas they were fed or commitments they have that they are not necessarily happy in. But this person is comfortable there. That's the thing. They're comfortable because they know what it is. And you come across as new, as different, as alien, as too intense for what this person is used to. And that doesn't mean there is something wrong with you or anything along those lines. You already know that. It's not that this person can't see that either, but categorizing things makes it easier for this person to sift through the world and to go through their life without being incredibly overwhelmed by everything. This is how they keep themselves at bay. Let's get into the tarot and look at what it is that they're afraid to tell you. I feel like all of this is what they're afraid to tell you already, like the kind of inner workings of where they're at, but we will get more information, obviously. But before that, I will quickly tell you what we're looking at in the extended. The link will be down below if you want to check it out after this, of course. We'll get tons of channeled messages to kind of supplement the messages right now. We will also look at where this connection is currently headed. We will then also look at the highest potential of this connection and see like where the gap lies, and we'll finish off with advice from your higher self / the universe / God, whatever you may feel more comfortable calling it. Okay. For now, we're continuing with what it is they're afraid to tell you. Spirit, please, what is it that this person is afraid? I'm hearing, I notice you, I notice you, I notice you, I notice you. I think about you. I notice you. I notice you. It keeps repeating in my head. And maybe the same way they kind of obsess inevitably over these rules that they have, they're obsessing over like running We have the Seven of Swords. And I saw the Five of Swords, which is the bottom deck energy now. I saw it a while ago when I first cut the deck. And I thought that was the Seven of Swords. I'm not very familiar with this deck yet. But they're running, but they're not doing it very well. They're getting clumsy with their running. They're afraid you're going to catch them. Or like catch the clues. We have the Ace of Swords. I think overall they're just like not in a place where they can be honest right now about anything. Honesty overall, I think, just scares this person. We have the Five of Cups and the Chariot in reverse. Cancer energy or season could be significant. But I'm also thinking of a crab with that Cancer energy. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. They're a lot softer than they let on. And they're a lot more drawn to you than they let on. But they are they've already made up their mind that they would disappoint you. That this would be disappointing. That this is not something to give to. They're decided on that. And it's not that they actually have certainty. It's the illusion of certainty. It's that they have to tell themselves that's for sure, that's for certain. Because if they start questioning things that they've held on to for their whole life, or at least for a very long time, that maybe they're not built for depth, that maybe they're not meant to have very intense connections, that maybe it's a waste of time to be feeling your feelings. None of these are necessarily true. But as long as they feel safe, as long as they're not actively hurting in a way that is unavoidable, this person, I feel like they're fine following that, following these same rules. But they do feel quite lost. They do feel very disappointed. Like overall, there's a sense of disappointment in this person's energy. They're disappointed that they're not a better version of themselves, that they're not that strong, that they're not that brave. And things don't feel as safe and secure as they try to tell themselves they do. I think they would be afraid to tell you that because that would, like, unhappiness on their end would inevitably bring up the question of, okay, what needs to change? And this person doesn't really want anything to change. Even if they're not happy, they don't necessarily want anything to change. Because what if that's much worse? And right now it's okay. Right now it's doable. Right now it's manageable. We have the Page of Wands in reverse. I'm hearing, I don't want to change a thing. Even if there is a sense of this person fantasizing about a different reality, but it's almost like something they won't allow themselves to have. But if they could be very vulnerable with you, but first and foremost with themselves, I feel like they would have a much different vision for their life and for themselves, and as a result for this connection, because how they would show up as a person would change. So how they would show up in this connection would change. It's not that they're not aware of that potential, it's that they can't look at it. That's the thing. We have the Devil in reverse. Am I gonna get censored? I don't think so. That would be ridiculous, but we'll see. Can we clarify the Ace of Swords in reverse, please, Spirit? They don't want to be tied down. We have the Nine of Swords. They feel pressured. They feel uncomfortable. They're scared. They're worried. None of this they would tell you. I think they would be too scared to tell you any of this because then they think you're gonna either reject them completely and stop giving them whatever level of energy you may have been giving them that has kept them comfortable so far, or if their comfort has come from not interacting with this connection at all. I feel like whatever equilibrium you're at, this person is terrified of breaking that. So overall, they're terrified to say anything that would make any difference. It's like they would, if they're going to say something to you, it's not going to have substance. They're just going to say words because they don't know what they're thinking either. Can we clarify the Five of Cups, please, Spirit? The Five of Cups. What is this person afraid to tell group 2? What is this person afraid to tell my group 2s? Everything. But most importantly, that they don't really feel fulfilled right now. And because they don't, you seem more attractive to them. I saw the Queen of Pentacles right under the 10 of Pentacles. The 8 of Cups. But they need distance. They need emotional distance. They need distance from their own emotions too. For some of you, this person is grieving something. Maybe you ended this connection because they weren't offering you what you wanted. If you have walked away from this connection, this person is devastated over that. If you have stopped pursuing them, if you have rejected what they were offering, if this was, for example, they were offering something more surface level, and you're like, no, I want to go dive deep. I'm going to go dive in the water. You can stay at the beach if you want, but this is not where I'm going to be. And I feel like this person is both very attached to the beach, to the safety of it, to knowing that there is no shark that's going to get them if they're just sitting on the sand. But the truth is, you never have certainty over safety. You could have a meteor fall onto your head. You know, I mean, not very likely, but it could happen. Or you get a really bad sunburn at the very least if you're just sitting at the beach, not doing much, not protecting yourself, or like not actually being aware of what it is that is really hurting you or scaring you, because it's not that every single person who has gone diving has been eaten by a shark. Obviously not. The same way, like, it's just a matter of what you're used to, because lots of people are very used to being in traffic and driving. Maybe less people have that with planes. But if you look at the data, is it more likely you will be in a plane crash or a car crash? And I'm not saying this to scare you. Planes are actually, they're meant to be in the air. They love being in the air. And it's like jello when we're up in the air. So it's, although there are exceptions to this, it's safe. Just to not, like, I don't know why, just to not evoke any new fears. I have an auntie who had a fear of planes, but we worked through it together. So just a side note, I don't know where this tangent is coming from, but essentially, circling back to the reading, this person, they haven't questioned their fears. They just have fears because it's different. I have also seen people who are afraid of flying, or it's often because they haven't really flown much and not because they have ever been in a plane crash. Of course, nobody wants to be in one. But this person, the way they're acting, essentially, it's not coming from experience. I don't think so. I think it's coming from witness, knowing of a, like, just knowing that they could get hurt. Like, that's enough. That's scary enough. We have the Five of Swords. And the thing is that this person cannot deal with uncertainty, with things that are unpredictable. And so they try to limit factors that are unpredictable as much as possible. And they feel like that has meant losing the potential of this connection. We have the Two of Wands. I think they're afraid to tell you that they hope one day they could break out of this pattern that they have and actually allow themselves to be happy. I think there is a deeper knowing in them that they are in a way withholding happiness from themselves. This is maybe a form of punishment because when they were younger, they learned that they are not worthy of good things necessarily. They're just a cog in the machine. They may have had a rough upbringing or like a rough relationship with one or both parents or parent figures. This is someone who feels a bit like the world is out to get them, but the world is out to get everyone, according to this person. Which there are a lot of atrocities in the world that are very difficult to believe. I won't get into that, but yeah. I think this person is actually someone who's very sensitive, but they're terrified of their own sensitivity because they know it can be very painful. And I think they've seen what the world can do to sensitive people. And that shouldn't be a reason to stop being yourself. That shouldn't be a reason to stop feeling your feelings. But it's also understandable in a way, I think, that the world is not easy to deal with the things we're witnessing, like on a bigger scale. And this person is just trying to stay focused, stay unaffected of all negative things. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. They're in the state of escaping, but they're afraid they can't escape forever. They're gonna get tired one day. They're gonna have to wake up. And I think they're afraid of getting that wake-up call because they're not going to be able to fight it anymore. We have the Eight of Wands and the Five of Wands. They're afraid that wake-up call is going to come. They don't know from who, from where, how, what day, but they are terrified it's going to come. And I feel like their rejection of this connection, or their refusal to dive deeper, or if they've made promises and then gone back on them, I think that just ties back to this pattern of not wanting change. There are already too many things that feel out of control for this person, so they're trying to at least be in control of who they are. And I feel like that means they're limiting themselves for the sake of some sense of security, some sense of financial comfort maybe. But it also feels like they're not allowing themselves to shine, like they're dimming their own light because they're afraid that it may attract the wrong people, the wrong kind of attention if they would stop dimming their lights. So they sit in the dark, but it's not that they're built for the dark, and they know that, even if they may tell themselves that. Is there anything else that wants to come through for my group twos? What is this person afraid of telling them? What is this person afraid of telling them? And with the Cancer and Capricorn energies being the only two out here, we have the Two of Cups, and the Six of Cups is the bottom deck energy. I was gonna say, I feel like they feel a strong sense of familiarity with you because these are sister signs. And it's not that this person needs to be of a sibling relationship to you at all, or that has to be the underlying feeling. It's just more so that they do feel a connection with you. It's just not something they can allow themselves to feel. Ace of Cups. I think this is where we're going to take it to the extended. I will see you in a little bit if you're meeting me there. If not, I hope this reading was helpful. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Happy Halloween, though I don't have hope anymore that I will have posted this on Halloween. But yeah, happy Halloween anyway. And yeah, bye. Hello, my beautiful group 2s, no, 3s, and welcome to your reading. Initially, I was hoping to have this posted on the 31st of October, but that's not happening. So it is the 31st today, but it's evening by now, and today has not gone how I expected it to. Maybe similarly to how this connection has been, because I just pulled your cards, so I know what they are. So let's get into it. We will start with some oracle cards so you can decide if this is someone you want to or need to hear about. And there will also be some tarot where we will get into, getting deeper into what it is that this person is afraid to tell you or talk to you about. And there will also be an extended, but we're going to talk about that later on. Okay. Oh. Starting off, we have Mars, Crocodile. There is something about this situation that maybe has felt either divinely guided or like divine protection. Something divine, something to do with a divine lesson, a divine teaching, a divine energy, a divine sign. Something about divinity. Maybe for some of you, this person has been part of your spiritual awakening, or you have been part of their spiritual awakening, or both ways. Share tenderness. This adds up to 11, which is interesting. We have number 19. The sun, Leo energy could be significant, but it doesn't have to be. And with that, we have liberation / freedom. Sextile, conjunction. Second house, owning, Taurus energy could be significant. And we have the Hermit, which came out in the reverse, so we're taking the shadow attribute. And this card is actually meant to represent how this person perceives your energy. So I thought it was very interesting that this card came out with the shadow attribute. Let's read it before you jump to conclusions, and I will tell you what I feel from this. Withdraws from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. Now, the second part of this card is, I think, why this person seems to associate this energy here with yours. And the first part, I think, is actually what they are projecting onto you, but it is actually what this person does and has done and has been doing in this connection. So let's start from the beginning. This is someone who is very possessive over you, but they have made you feel like they are not. This is someone that has wanted to pursue you, but also not. This is someone who has pursued you, but without substance. This is someone that has said one thing and done another. This is someone that has made you feel very confused. This is someone that has acted very hot and cold, but someone at the same time that really values the nourishment, the tenderness, the gentleness, the softness that you are allowed, I was going to say that you have given them. I don't know why I said allowed. Maybe you've allowed this person to get away with behavior they feel they otherwise wouldn't be able to get away with. Like, not in every situation. This is someone who has felt like you have had serious intentions with them, a serious commitment to them, but they feel left behind in some way. And with this crocodile energy, I feel like this is someone that can get news about you or that can observe you somehow. And their own actions have led to this separation between the two of you, or this pause, whatever the exact logistics of it may be. I just feel like you're not with this person. If you are in a legal partnership, like if you're in a marriage with this person or some kind of official commitment, I feel like it's a disconnected one currently. This could be someone you got a divorce from as well, or like had a contract with and then it no longer applies. That's what it feels like. This is someone that associates joy with you, happiness with you, the time of their life with you, but they're also someone who would never admit that because they're too scared to talk about it, because they're too scared to be soft themselves, even though this is the part of your energy that they have enjoyed the most. I'm hearing, if by enjoy you mean take advantage of. I feel like that's one of you. Lately, more so than ever, I've been hearing like comments from the viewer, which I find quite interesting. Maybe some of you are getting like deeper in your own energy, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's getting channeled here like more clearly or something. I don't know. Anyway, we can talk about that later. This is someone who has withdrawn from this connection. They don't see that as part of their own behavior or like something they chose. They see that as something that they ended up having to do, that they were forced into doing, because you weren't, I'm hearing you changed. I think what changed potentially is the amount of energy you were willing to share with this person and how you were showing up with them, because it almost seems like you exerted some force. You stood up for yourself, or you said, this is enough, like I want something different, or I don't accept this behavior, or you owe me an apology, or why did you do that? I feel like even the simplest questions this person has not really been able to answer or be accountable for. They look at you with a bit of envy for the life that you have built for yourself, for the people that surround you, that they perceive to surround you. This person is watching you. Like, this could be someone that follows you on social media, even on a burner account if you have blocked this person. They're afraid to tell you a lot of things. They're afraid to tell you that it's never been that they didn't have feelings for you. It's that they have never been comfortable enough to explore those feelings. It's easier for this person to just label things, to do things on a surface level, label things as in like not really get to the bottom of something or a feeling, but just say, oh, I like group 3. And then they don't think about it again. They don't consider it again. They don't think deeper about it. They don't feel deeper. And it's not that they cannot, it's because they have chosen not to. And it is not personal to you. It has everything to do with this person themselves. And the thing is, I feel like this person showed up as someone very promising in the beginning, very committed, maybe everything you would want from a connection. It feels like something would have felt very aligned with this person, something would have felt very attractive about this person, until they took it all back. It's like they said things and then they took their word back. It's like they changed their mind, or they just weren't able to tell you what they were actually thinking. And it's not that they weren't able to. It's important to highlight that it's not that this person didn't have a choice. And I think you know that too. They chose to be on their own. And for some of you, I think they chose to pursue other situations, maybe other connections. They wanted something lighthearted, but they wanted the emotional safety that you were willing to give to them. But they couldn't have both, and that's not something that this person seems to understand, that they can't have everything. And a part of this person feels like they should have it. Like there is a bit of an I want it all type of energy to this person. Like they want to have fun, they want you too, but you don't want to just have fun with this person, but they may be someone that has forced you into that dynamic, or has kept offering you a dynamic you don't want and convinced you to settle for it by persisting, by circling around you. It's like their energy has relentlessly followed you. That's what it feels like, because this person is so hungry for your energy. They're not learning. The lessons are chasing them all around, but they're not learning. I think you have clarity over this person in the sense that you realize they are not learning. I think you probably hope they were, or you wish they were. I think maybe some of you wish you could just like spoon feed it to this person. Because it's not that you have bad intentions, it's that this person has refused to see outside of their own perspective. I think this is someone who has difficulty putting themselves in other people's shoes, in the sense that if they have hurt someone and they have to put themselves in this person's shoes, they feel like they can't, because it's not actually that this person, for a lot of you, cannot empathize. It's that they choose not to because it keeps them safe. Because it means they didn't do anything wrong. It's like if they don't look at it, it didn't happen. If they don't acknowledge it, it didn't happen. But that's not how it works. They also know that. They know they're just kind of grasping at whatever they can. They have been just grasping at whatever they can. And I think for a lot of you, that's why you walked away, or you put some boundary between you and this person, backed out of a commitment. Maybe they initiated it. I feel like it's their behavior mainly that has led to this. And I don't think they've taken responsibility for that. And if you would ask them, I think they would just be too afraid to admit, but they would be too afraid to call that fear as well. This person is afraid of being afraid of anything. So they want to appear very mighty, very strong, like they have it all together. They know what they're doing. They see what they're doing. They are very well aware of what they did, and it's nothing wrong. I feel like there is this kind of monologue in their head that comes out and defends them whenever someone tries to be a mirror to this person, show them something about themselves. I feel like they might undermine the other person's knowledge, the other person, like whether they're qualified to make this judgment about them. This is quite an interesting energy. It makes me feel very protective over you, if I'm being honest. I don't know if for some of you this is an energy you wanted to hear about, but maybe because the subject of this reading for Halloween, really, even though I'm kind of missing Halloween, even though the subject of this reading was for Halloween, so maybe that is why it's kind of more old energies, unresolved energies that are coming up. This person I think they're afraid of how much they wish they were the kind of person that could just beg for forgiveness, because they are craving your energy. They just are. You made things feel right for this person. You made them feel good about themselves, and now they don't. And part of them wishes they were the kind of person that could just beg you, but they are too proud for that as well. And I feel like they have really wronged you in like a significant way, in a way that probably still makes you feel resentful in some sense towards them, which is perfectly fair. In the end, holding on to toxic feelings or poison will only poison you and not this person. But that doesn't mean you can't be angry. You can't feel what you need to feel. It's more about the concept of when it is time to let that anger and resentment go for your own sake, for your own well-being, then maybe it is time to allow it to go. But that doesn't mean you have to excuse this person's behavior, or you have to accept their behavior, or you have to make sense of their behavior for them. This is someone who is inherently blind to their own self. And they may put, like, I think there are many different stories this person tells themselves first and foremost. One story is that you may have suddenly just walked away, ignoring a lot of what may have happened previously. And I think this is someone who really has trouble being accountable because they don't want to be a bad person. They don't want to be the bad person, so they will make anybody else the antagonist if they need to. They are very good at changing the narrative and acting like they believe it so that other people can believe it too. It's like fake it till you make it. And it is true that a lot of people in a social situation especially will side with whatever person is relaying this information to them. They will empathize with the person that says, I was hurt, I had this happen to me. And for some of you, this may not be a romantic connection even. This may just be someone that like acted like a friend, that was a friend maybe at some point, but this is what has always been on the inside. Someone who may have made you feel like you were the problem. Someone who probably seriously made you question if you were the problem. For some of you, this is coming through as someone with potentially narcissistic tendencies, and I am using that phrase on purpose. This is not to diagnose anyone. That is not up to me. This is not for you to diagnose anyone either. I think it has become very popularized. But I do think for some of you, this person does have some narcissistic tendencies. This does not mean they have the narcissistic personality disorder. Everyone is capable of having narcissistic tendencies. This is not to excuse their behavior or to justify it. But I do think I brought up the kind of narcissistic tendencies aspect of this because this person, for some of you, may have made you question if, because of your needs or what you were asking of this person, or you were asking them to be accountable or holding them accountable, they may have made you feel like you have narcissistic tendencies. Like, flip it around. I don't know if that was intentional or not. My job here is not to excuse anyone's behavior. In the end, everybody is capable of hurting others. We can all hurt ourselves. But it matters how we choose to deal with that, whether we choose to act on it, like act on the pain we're feeling in a way that heals us, or if we choose to not do anything about it and burn down whatever bridge we cross to other people. And I feel like in this person's case, they have chosen to not tend to the fact that they were burning. I don't know who burnt them, but this is someone who is in pain. I think they would be too afraid to ever admit that. They are hurting in themselves, but they are so consumed by their own pain that they don't see the pain that they are inflicting upon others. And I think this person although they would be afraid to do it, I think they would want to. Like, they wish that they were the kind of person that could just come get you back. And there is this other side of them that believes they could ask for you back and it would happen. But they're afraid almost to speak that out loud because they're afraid of rejection. This person feels rejected by you, even if they rejected you first. But I think it's kind of automatic that they flipped a script so that they are not the one doing the bad things. They are not the one that's responsible for the bad things. And they would be afraid to tell you how fond of you they are. And you may be thinking, how could you care for someone and act this way? And I think this person would, well, they wouldn't be able to answer this. Maybe they would say, what do you mean I don't care? I did this and I did that. Don't you remember when I did this? Or don't you remember when I took you to that place? Or don't you remember when I defended you against that? Or don't you remember we did this together? But the thing is, the reason I think they would talk about that is because in their head, it's rationalized. And anything that might hurt you along the way is because they're doing it out of self-defense. And self-defense falls into a different category than just inflicting damage upon someone. I'm not saying that as like an objective truth. I think it's just how this person sees it. Like, they're punished less or not punished at all because it was all in self-defense. You attacked them first by confronting them, by asking them questions, by questioning their intentions, by standing up for yourself. You introduced the threat. It scared them, which they would be afraid to tell you. And self-defense. That's how they would label their behavior, I think. Self-defense, just protecting themselves, just looking out for themselves because they don't want to be hurt. But the part of the story they're interestingly not getting is that it's not just them. Nobody wants to be hurt, save for a select few, maybe, potentially. I feel like you're so aware of this. You're so painfully aware of this situation, but it has worn you down. It has kept a hold on you, which is perfectly fair. Like, this, it's a heavy energy. It's a lot to sift through. Let's get into the tarot. And I will quickly tell you what we're looking at in the extended. We're looking at where this connection is headed. And we are also looking at the highest potential of this connection and to see kind of the difference between the two scenarios and what may be missing. We're going to talk a bit about that if it is of relevance according to Spirit. We will also get tons of channeled messages from this person, from the message deck and the message bag, and we will finish off with additional comments or advice from Spirit. If you're interested, the link will be down below. I'm just getting this out already because I for sure will forget by the end of the reading. Okay. Okay. Spirit. Group 3, please. Group 3. What is this person afraid of telling group 3? I'm shuffling over here because there is nudity in this deck and YouTube doesn't like that. We have the 5 of Swords in reverse. They would be too afraid to tell you. They're not over anything that has happened here. Oh. But they're gonna act like they are. Did you see how that jumped out? This person's like in a place of like, I don't care. It's almost like la la la. It's all just noise in the background. I'm doing my thing, but they care. It's not that they don't. But they're acting like naive. They're acting like they don't see anything. That's the story that they're telling themselves. They're tricking even themselves. And I think for some of you, this person did really go through it, like in their childhood potentially, to get to a point where they can be so aloof. For some of you, it is that this person has had to look out for only themselves because nobody else was looking out for them. This doesn't make being so selfish that we just burn other people. It doesn't justify it. That doesn't make it okay, but it maybe helps to understand their behavior a bit better, that this, yeah, it has been them, and whatever happens from this point onwards, I feel like it will have to do with whether this person is getting through this pattern or not, because it's not that they don't have the potential. They have all the potential. You know, the King of Cups in reverse, they're just choosing to set a boundary with that potential and almost like cage themselves in a fake cage. It's not even a real cage, but they perceive it as that, and they're very good at believing their own stories. Their mind is very good at feeding them stories. I think this person is most afraid of rejection, and they feel like that has already happened with you, but they don't feel like they've rejected you. They feel like you've rejected them, so they've instantly turned it around and told the story of, oh, actually, I didn't want you anyway, or I never cared about you anyway. Can we clarify the 5 of Swords, please? It's like, if this person has said mean things about you, been mean to you, called you names, I think they would be afraid to tell you that's literally because they can't have you. And so they, like, you know, it's like saying, you know, that energy, like, you know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to give an example anyway. Let's say this person really wants to go to this school. They try to get into this school, and then the school doesn't accept them. And at first they're like, oh, this school, I really want to go there. It's such a good school. It's what I want. And then once they don't get in, they're like, it wasn't a good school anyway. They have this and that, and also they don't have nice toilets, and they don't have this and that. I never wanted to go there anyway. And it softens a blow for them, right? Because they can try to convince themselves they never wanted it anyway, or they don't want it anyway. But this person does miss you, and they are still stuck in the past. They're absolutely still stuck in the past. They're stuck all the way to their childhood and all of the unworked emotions from back then. And we're all on different points on our journeys. I feel like this person has barely started theirs. And they've met you when you were much further along. And I feel like you have even, maybe for some of you, gone back to get this person to come with you. And they haven't really chosen to do that. They've chosen to stay asleep. That's what I'm hearing. They've chosen to stay asleep. The alarm was ringing, but they kept snoozing it. The alarm will keep ringing. It will keep annoying them because they're not fulfilled, right? The call is still coming. Got the Two of Pentacles. Their own energy exhausts them, I think. Like this cycle that they live in, it's always running. Running is tiring. Like they get no rest. They're just running and running and running. How far can they go? Running, Eight of Wands, running and running, but actually going in circles. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. They're running, but they're actually going in circles. They're just exhausting themselves. I think they see that. Like, their life is not moving forward. If they say it is, it's an illusion. If they try to act like it is, it's an illusion. A lot of this person's presence for some of you may be on social media, but they're not actually doing much tangible, real things with their life. I feel like they're more concerned currently with giving a certain impression. If you do have this person on social media, it doesn't have to be social media necessarily, but I feel like this person is more concerned with like how they're perceived rather than how they actually feel. They can feel horrible within, but if other people admire them, I feel like that's just going to put this person in a really good mood, because they are not able to give themselves validation. So when they can get that from other people, it's all good, but it's temporary. There is no constant source of validation within this person. I think you have been that for this person. They miss you a lot over that. They miss you a lot over the care that you were giving them, because that certainly is not something that they think they deserve. They feel entitled to it in a way, but it's not something they actually think they deserve. I feel like a lot of what this person says and does is also mismatched, and the name Mitch could be significant, or Mitchell, name or last name. Of course, I'm thinking of Modern Family when I say that, but Spirit, what else is this person too afraid to say to group 3, please? What is this person too afraid to say to my group 3s? What are they too afraid to say? Okay. 4 of Cups in reverse. That they care. There is such a stubbornness coming from them that keeps saying, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, but it's like a tantrum. They say they don't care so much because one day they think they might believe it if they say it enough times. But this person feels alone. But they've put themselves on that island. They've made that decision. That's what it feels like, at least. Like, it's because they haven't taken responsibility for themselves, and they're still not. They're still putting it on you. Is there anything else that wants to come through? Oh, the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. I was just hearing still in my head, and I feel like some of you may be questioning, this person's still here, still in this energy, and yes. This person hasn't moved. That doesn't mean they never will and never can. But yes, this person has not really found balance within, or done a lot of work to find balance within. They've still been running. And I feel like you've really embodied the healing opportunity that the aftermath of this connection has brought. You may still be in the process of healing and recovering. Well, it's a lifelong journey, really, but maybe still healing from this situation in particular. But I hope this has not changed how you see yourself. And I hope this person has not forced their narrative about you onto you, because I mean, they can't even see themselves clearly. How could they see you? Often in readings, I mean, not often, always in readings, I will try to keep a very objective point of view, but sidebar, I do feel very protective over your energy. I feel like this person has really disappointed you. Maybe they broke some promises. And they feel the consequences. You don't have to worry about them, but even if they didn't, it should never be your, and it's not your responsibility to make them feel that. It's never been your responsibility to do the work for this person. And it's on them that they're neglecting their own responsibilities. And it's not that they have to do it alone, but I feel like they're not even, they haven't even tried. But maybe if they had tried, they would find more help along the way or feel more capable doing it along the way. But I think this person is too insecure to even go on that journey of self-exploration. They're too much of a stranger to themselves. They would be too afraid to tell you how afraid they are of movement, of change, of living in any way but like this. Is there anything else that wants to come through, please, Spirit, that is important for group 3 to know? Okay, then this is where we are taking it to the extended. I will see you there if you're meeting me there. If not, that is perfectly okay. I hope this reading was helpful. The giveaway is still going on, and the personal readings are available. Everything is linked down below. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. I am sending you tons of love. Take care, and bye.